Hello everyone, it's Uncle Destiny here with you. It's time for us to have the reading for the month of May. As of right now, it's been about a month and a half since the stay-at-home order has come out. And I'm weathering it fine, still keeping working as it is and still doing this. And we're looking at what this means for also the long haul, not just for the month, and also the choices that we're going to be asked to make as life goes on and life changes. So, let's see what the ancestors have to say for the month of May to help us through this time, and about the path that we're heading for and what we're looking to change. Alrighty, we have thrown the bones, and we had a bunch of stuff here at the edge of the surface. I'm going to turn this so it's right side up here. And it's a bit spread out, but we also, like I said, got a bunch of things that here at the edge. And one of the biggest one is the copper piece, which is only partially on and partially off. So spirit is very much, let's say it, on the fence about what its feelings are about how we've handled all of this. What spirit is going to do and what spirit is not going to do. Spirit is pretty much in that conduit of, and there are places that it will withdraw its favor from, and there's places that will not be getting, that it will be getting its favor. But we'll put this in the context of number 12 in the 12th house, which is about endings, healing, closure, and spirituality. So this month of May is going to be very much about what is ending. And I'm going to be frank, I'm not seeing that the situation with this virus is going to be ending in this next month of May. What, if anything, that is going to be ending is pretty much some of the views that we have been holding to about our lives, our future, and our world as we begin the process of grieving those losses and beginning to accept and develop the new context we're going to be living the world with. And that's going to be some of the endings. The healing is also going to be there in the aspect of beginning to recognize not only the new norm is, but also that sense of what do we really need to address for moving forward. Because we can't keep avoiding everything. There's too many things around us that we just can't ignore it. So healing is probably going to be the best and most effective thing we can do, rather than continuing to live in this denial and hurt that comes. There's also going to be the aspect of closure. And closure is like an ending, but it means that we can walk away from where we are. And again, this is that sense of acknowledgement and acceptance of our emotions and of the emotions of others. And a lot of the energy that is being spent now by so many, especially those who are protesting, is about a closure, an idea that they don't want to recognize about what this situation means, fundamentally about the power they thought they had. And we end with spirituality. And as I said, spirit is here on the fence, whether it's going to help or not, whether it finds the responses and choices made acceptable or not. Our spirituality is also going to be tested as from some, they delve deeper into it, and others begin to see those that have misled it. Those that, I'll be frank, have utilized it for their own good, not for the good of others. And we do always want to look for a place of safety, emotionally, physically, as well as spiritually, but it's also a time to reassess what those safe harbors are. Because no matter what, the waters connect all parts of the world. The winds connect all parts of the world. And those elements cannot be ignored or denied forever. And some of them will reclaim that space. Now, that said, let's look at the three main bones, which we have a distance apart from each other. And again, in this context of endings, healing, closure, and spirit, what I see here is work. What I see here is family. And this is also social. And this one is home. Now, I'm going to start here with the home bone, which is off here and that is in its own proverbial isolation with connection over here to this support bone. And home is going to remain steady. And I know for here in the Bay, they extended the stay-at-home order for at least another month until the end of May. So long as we maintain that that's going on there, home will be fine. Home will be what it needs to be, and it will be that shelter, but it is also about respecting that sense of what does it mean for pulling back, being in that isolation, being in that quiet, and respecting that. That's what the home's going to be. And obviously making sure that we are taking precautions when we go out and come back in is part of that, maintaining that respect for home. Now, we do have the support bone, and so there is going to be some elements of support that are going to be present to allow this aspect of home and to be functional. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't going to be difficulty maybe with rents or mortgage, and it's, again, part of this aspect of assessing choice. Is it more important to keep that place of shelter for you, or is this a place where giving up the money that you're saving on the hairdos, giving up the money you're saving on the expensive coffee is going to, while it might be small amounts, it still adds up as being stuff that you can use to cover your rent and cover your mortgages, so that your home is still a place that provides you that safe place for isolation away from continuing spread of this. Over here we have, and so again, take that into understanding with how endings, healing, and closure and spirit go into there. Our homes are a place of spirit. Our homes are also a place of closure. Not just physically because it closes us in, but also the fact that when we walk into our homes, in many cases, it is the end of our day. And we're having to deal with that reassessment of what does it mean for your day to end at home. And it's not just that aspect of changing out of the sleep pajamas into the daytime pajamas. So we're getting a new sense of closure. What does it mean for when the day is done and we get to enjoy our home, enjoy our spaces, and the spirit of what we're placing in our homes as well. Now, with the work bone, again, also another one that's in line with support bone. And so the aspect of our work is going to continue. And remember, our work is more than just what we do to pay the bills. It's part of the purpose of what we are here on earth to do. And we're keeping in line with that. That's going to stay stable for many, but there are also going to be, again, those that are having to look at changing all of that. And again, it's that accepting the fact that something has changed, that there is a new context. It's the ending and closure that's going on, and it's beginning the healing process, accepting that what you may have been doing is changing. But hold to the sense that there is a purpose for you. Hold to the sense that there is some direction there, and that's what spirituality will direct you through. Now, this does not mean blind faith. This does not mean blind trust. You are still going to have to do things to bring about your world and such. But it means working with the sense of there is a positive direction for you. There is a direction that you will find as long as you are trained true to whatever that purpose is that you are here for. If you don't know what your purpose is, then trust that you will find it. But you've got to be operating from that sense that it is moving there. Now, when we come down here to the family/social bone, you notice we got a lot of support bones here. We've got the quartz crystal. We've even got the shell piece here, and the shell is turned to the outside. And with it being the outside, it's really talking about things exterior. So we've really got to be looking at what are we doing, both not just within our homes, but within our connection to others. And the families of choices that we've made, as opposed to all about the blood family. Now, the blood family is still important, but there's also a lot about our family of choice. And what we're also seeing is that, yeah, there is some division there, as has been best described about this entire situation, about this being that we're all in the same boat. No, we're all in the same storm, but we're in different boats. Now, some are in little blow-up rafts, others are in luxury liners, weathering this storm. And we've got to be conscious about what that is and what that effect is, especially when it can cause short-sightedness, and it can cause people to be coming from a place of reaction and fear, which also makes them very manipulative. They can either manipulate people or be the subject of manipulation. So it's about keeping a sense of guard up, but that doesn't mean we completely close off our hearts. We want to be able to be healing, and we do not want to keep those things that can help us heal from coming in. It just means we need to be just more conscious of what that flow exchange is, what's coming in and what's going out. And that's very much what's coming in with the shell piece. Now, the quartz also adds to that, because we've got several of the support bones that are not only just literally going under this, but literally sitting on top of the crystal. And it's about reassessing and healing what we are considering to bring in for protection, and what are we letting go of that is not healthy protection. Because some of those things need to end, because they are being asked to change. They're being told they need to be changed. And the more we operate from a sense of, okay, I can understand this, I can work with this, we can make this change, the further we go. Now, over here, we did most of those bones. We also have the broken rib bone. And you notice we've got the point, and it's at the one end. And what this is also saying is that we are dealing with the point where people are on a spectrum. There are people who are willing, as we're seeing, to do these protests and risk everyone's health because they feel they are threatened. They are, again, in that fear reaction response, which makes them able to be manipulated. As opposed to those who are keeping a certain distance, but also keeping an awareness and trying to act from a place of love and response, because it's about looking at the long-term consequences. And that's also what's coming up because the situation and the way we've addressed it has been about a short-term solution. When now, even though we've been flattening the curve as much as we can, this is now needing to move into what is a long-term solution. And we're trying to balance that. Now, sadly, with the way this angled is, I see there's going to be a lot of energy that is being pushed downward and towards the spirit. And spirit is seeing, for lack of a better word, that fear, that reaction, that less than pleasant selves we're seeing, as opposed to those that are staying in that higher, greater, longer view. Equally, the fact that the quartz crystal is right now on top of this, and it's like a teeter-totter almost, is the aspect of, again, we are dealing with people who are lost in a fear, lost in reaction. We're lost in an image of that has only a single narrative, as opposed to more narratives, which is what is allowing the people who are on this end of the teeter-totter to see. They can see further. But we've got to be able to recognize that in some cases we have to let these people have their fear, but we don't want to get lost in it. That also means we don't get dragged down by them. So we have to step back. And sometimes there is that sad aspect of we have to let them deal in their fear and potentially learn whatever changes that the universe is trying to get them to see. And that's what spirit is watching. It's like, are they learning? Are they changing? Are they accepting the change? We don't know. They do see those of us over here who are trying to keep the long view, who are trying to act from the place of love. So we trust in that. And again, that's not blind trust. That's not blind faith. It is in the aspect of we are doing that. The great good for not just ourselves, but for everyone around us, because everybody has worth. And that's part of what we are being asked to heal. That is part of what we are being asked to have a spiritual perspective about. Letting go of and having closure with what has been the last several thousand years that has culminated in the world we are now. We have to let go of it. We have to let it end. We have to have closure as we reorganize into a long-term view. Because where we are right now is not a sustainable long-term view. It does have an end. So with that, I want you to focus on what is the long-term view. What is the view that allows us to prosper as well as be realistic, practical. So this is Uncle Destiny on behalf of the spirits and the ancestors and the Orisha. May they bless you with sound thought and good foresight. Ashe. So Uncle Destiny back with you again. I forgot to put my card out for this month of the Adinkra. And this one is known as, basically translated, God, there is something in the heavens. Hope and inspiration. God is there. God is there. God, there is something in the heavens. Pray let it reach me. And this is feeding to this aspects of what I was saying during the reading about the fact that there's a divine change going on. And we can either resist that change or we can accept it and let it come to us so that we can go forward. And again, this is not blind trust. This is not blind faith. But this is knowing that we are moving towards something and that change can benefit us. That we see it as a good thing. And we pray that that change comes to reach us. That is part of what we're open and trying to be open to and allowing in this next month of May, that the heavens and the prayers and wonders that are there reach us here on earth and we move forward into what we are meant to do and that purpose.